Good day everyone. I am Kiana Kanel G. Compra. In this video, we will learn about inheritance in Python using a campus ID system. In object-oriented programming, inheritance is a way for one class to reuse the properties and behaviors of another class. So now, we will see how one parent class, a person, can be reused by child classes like student, faculty, and staff, each with their own special behaviors. By the end of this tutorial, we will understand how inheritance works in Python and how it allows us to reuse code efficiently while giving each child class its own unique features. So let's begin. So this is my code for inheritance OOP. So first, we created a class named person. So a class is a blueprint or template. So this is our parent class. So next, we defined a constructor init method. So init, it runs automatically when we create a new object. And these are the parameters. The self refers to the object itself, name, a person name, and a campus ID number. So self.name is equal to name means this is the attributes, and we store the name attribute inside the object. So same goes here. We store the campus ID attribute inside the object. So here we defined a method named introduce and self the object itself. And print, we just print the basic information of person. So you will understand this later on or how this works. And next, I created a class named student and it inherits the student from a class. So means the student is already a person because it inherits here, the parent class. So again, div init, a constructor method, and it has an attribute named program. So super, I use super to reuse the code of name and campus ID instead of rewriting that. And self.program again, we store the attribute program inside the object. And div, we define a method named enrolled that only for a student. Enroll is only for a student, and we have here the attribute name subject. And here it just print the enrolled message. So the name and the subject. So here, this is, by the way, this is my first child, and this is the second child. So we created a class named faculty. It inherits also from a person. So the faculty is already a person. So div init a constructor method, and we have here a new attribute named department. So again, the super means to reuse the name and the campus ID instead of rewriting them. So self.department is equal to department. We store the attribute department inside the object. Then we defined a method named teach that only for a faculty. And then we have also here the same attribute named subject. And here it just print or display a teaching message. And this is our third child, a class named staff. It also inherits from a person, so the staff is already a person. So we define a constructor method again, and it has an attribute name office. So again, the super rather. So instead of, it reuses the code instead of rewriting them. So self.office is equal to office. We store the attribute office inside the object. And we define a method named process request that is only for the staff and the attributes request type. And here we just print or display a request process message. So here we created a list named people, and inside is these are the objects: the student, the faculty, and the staff. So we have here the names and the campus ID number, the subject, and the faculty is the teach, the subject. It is also a subject, and then staff, it is a request type. So a list, and inside are the objects. So for person and people, this means a for loop. So it loops through each object inside this list, inside the people list. And person that introduce, so all objects can use this because they all inherited it from a person. So here, if is instance person student, it just check if the object person is a student. If it is checked, so calls enroll object-oriented programming. So same goes here. Elif stands for else if is instance person faculty. So if it checks if the object is the faculty. So if it is true, it calls the teach data structures. So same here, else if is instance person staff, it checks if the object is the staff. So if it is true, it calls the process request document verification. So lastly, I just or here we just printed a separator line for a clean output. So if we will run the code, so this will be the result or the output. So this is, hi, I am Kiana. My campus ID is S2026. So this is the result of this code. Hi, I am self.name. So the object, so I created the object name Kiana. So Kiana, Dr. Alcizar, and Mr. Gonzalez. So before I'll end this tutorial, I'll answer the question about what was reused from the parent class. So I will give a short explanation for this. The child class reuses the parent's variables and methods, basically the parent's code and behavior. So for example, if the parent if the parent class has a method like walk, the child class can also use walk without writing it again. So that's all for today's video. Hope you learned something. Thank you.